Hi guys, it's Top 5 Friday, your guide to the most exciting plugins to spend your weekend playing with in lieu of any human interaction. I'm Tim Cant, and this week in my tastefully decorated studio, I'm going to show you our top 5 synthesizer plugins. Now, spoiler alert, Serum is number 1. Now, obviously that was going to happen, but if you think it's terribly unjust, why don't you drop us a comment letting us know what your favourite super cool synth is, and we can all learn something about the magic of synthesis together. So let's check out today's top 5. We've got SynthMaster, Conical Relief with Spire, Vengeance Sound, Get Some with Avenger, the demanding Diva from Oohi, and Steve Duda's Lil Baby, Serum. Number 5, SynthMaster 2.9 by KV331 Audio. SynthMaster may have been around for a long time, but every update has kept it fresh to compete with the hottest synths around. Now, version 2.9 SynthMaster has practically every sound generation feature you could want in a synthesizer. Wavetable oscillators, loads of voicing parameters, dual filters, multistage envelope generators, and a modular signal flow, all times 2 with 2 synthesis layers. On top of that, it's got 4 LFOs, an effects section including a vocoder, and its oscillator waveforms include samples of classic hardware to use as sources. Okay, so let's take a little look at SynthMaster, and specifically we're going to use the FM capabilities to make some really wet and nasty bass noises. So we're just going to start off with an initialized patch. It's just a sawtooth, and we're going to change the FM source to modulator 1. Now, modulator 1 works as our FM source. So we play our thing. It already sounds pretty rough. If we change the tuning, okay, so obviously there's a lot of potential for making nasty noises there. What's cool is, if we go into Oscillator 1's panel, we can cycle through some different waveforms and see how it sounds. So it's when you get to these sort of waveforms where you really get that wet nastiness. So yeah, plenty to get you started with your filthy bass lines there. Number 4, Spire by Reveal Sound. With an impressive range of oscillators and synthesis types, and an even more impressive range of third-party preset developers, one thing is for sure, Spire is a versatile synth. Choose one of 49 waves in a Spire oscillator, and you can morph it using the Control A and Control B knobs. What these two do to the waveform is determined by the synthesis type, which is selected at the top of the oscillator, and that's without mentioning the dual filters, 4 LFOs, and 4 envelopes and effects. It's also got a 5-page modulation matrix, getting access to over 200 mod destinations. Okay, so my little tipperoo for Spire is to do with one of its presets, specifically Factory Bank 1, preset number 9, Bass Kung Fu. Now, this is a really lovely sounding respace that has been made with a sawtooth oscillator, unison, detuned 3 voices, and it's gone through a low pass filter, and it sounds really very lovely. Nice and authentic. You can tweak it and get your own sort of sound with the cut-off and resonance. It's a great, really useful go-to sound, but the trouble with it is, if we look in span, we can see that the fundamental frequency ain't that solid, and that, you know, you might want a bit more of a solid sub-sound in there. What you can do, if you want to just take a real cheeky shortcut, is to just turn on the second filter, high pass it. Then you can just copy a MIDI part with anything that makes a sine tone, boom, mix it in there as you like. Get a lovely big loud mix down, which is surely all anyone could want. Number 3, Avenger by the Vengeance Sound. This monstrous top-of-the-line synth is the first instrument released by plugin and soundware legends Vengeance Sound. The word ambitious doesn't even begin to describe Avenger. It's got 8 oscillators which host classic analog shapes, samples, a choice of digital wave cycles and wavetables. There's FM and AM options, and each oscillator can be run through a unique combination of filters, amps, arpeggiators and effects, meaning that you could make an entire track in one instance of Avenger. Elsewhere, there's a spectral filter, macro controls, and far too many features to even name check. It's also got a built-in drum machine and drum sequencer. Put simply, Avenger is excessive, and it's excessively brilliant. Okay, so Avenger, it's a big synth. Literally, like this, I run a 1080p resolution, so you know, I don't feel like I've got anything to prove. This synth, in its default state, this is 100% view, is too big for a 1080p thing. So yeah, my first tip is you just got a handy little thing here so you can turn it down and make it appropriately sized for your screen, which is great. So the second thing I want to look at is just having a look at the drum sequencer. So easiest way to do it, initialize the preset, yes please. Turn off the, it's playing a, we've got the initialized sound, plenty of reverb and delay on it, nice. So we'll turn that off. And then we have the drums. Now, here we have the drums. We have sample slots here. We have a sequencer down here. So if we want to play some drums, we can just double click something. And hopefully we'll hear some noises eventually. There we go, we're playing low octave. We've got a bunch of sets of those bang invention sounds that you know and love. And we've got a bunch of sequences here as well. Let's find a kit that's slightly more suitable. Let's have some nice dubstep. And yeah, with this green thingy here, you can it'll link when loading a sequence with loading the associated drum set. So if you want, you can just go off piste and say, okay, well I want these drums, and I'm going to have this sequence, and then you hear what it sounds like. The tricky thing to actually play it is you have to turn on the drum sequence here in the routing rack. So now, instead of playing individual notes when we play one of these low octave things, it'll play the beats. Oh yeah, nice. Booming. And then you could just edit the drum sequencer as you might expect, you know what I'm saying? Easy. So yeah, tons of fun there. Number 2, Diva by Yuhi. If you can't decide which classic analog synth you want in your next track, Diva takes the best bits of hardware history and puts them into one incredible sounding plugin. With Diva, you could pair a Mini Moog oscillator with an NS20 filter and then pipe the signal through a Jupiter 6 style envelope, or swap out any of the elements with any other. Diva's also got 2 LFOs, 2 effect slots, modifications tab to make advanced tweaks, and a kick-ass oscilloscope visualizer. This femme fatale's killer feature is the Divine mode. This mini control cranks Diva up for maximum quality, making it its most analog, but with a hefty CPU hit, as you would expect from this demanding Diva. So Diva, for me, the most interesting thing about it is that it emulates the Roland Alpha Juno, which is a classic rave synth. More recently, Redominator has done that as well, but Diva does it in an interesting context of letting you mess around with a bunch of other stuff as well. So I'm just going to show you, because this is just the coolest thing ever, how to make this Hoover noise, because it's really, really awesome. So we're going to choose the DCO here, which is the Roland Alpha Juno inspired oscillator bank. We'll turn up the cutoff and just make sure everything's fine. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we don't need any pulse for this, so we're going to turn that off. And we're just going to turn the sub oscillator down to this less intrusive. In fact, let's not even bother listening to that. What we really want is the sawtooth set to pulse width modulation shape. Now, most synths don't modulate sawtooths in this kind of way, and it gives us a rather interesting sound if we mess about with it. So, What have we got there? It's a bit of a kind of weird saw. Let's change the LFO to modulation of the pulse width. Okay, so there you start to get that sort of pulsing movement that is so familiar. Okay, let's mix the sub back in. Gives it that real touch of rave authenticity is the chorus effect. Yes, you're ready to party basically. Now the other thing that if you want that real typical Hoover sound or whatever, have a bit of a pitch modulation. So we've got envelope 2 here, so let's turn that up. That's modulating the pitch of the oscillators. You see instantly that's, you know, that's your rave vibe. So currently envelope 2 is controlling this, and we've actually got this set to like an old school sort of Moogie sort of thing. If we want, we can change it to something else. How about this? Or maybe we'll go for the digital one, which is the Roland Alpha Juno inspired one. Yeah, raving off. And at number 1, who'd thunk it? It's Serum by X for Records. Originally released in 2014, Serum has risen to the top of the tree to become the undeniable king of the soft synths. But why has this simple looking synth garnered so much attention? Serum's 2 wavetable oscillators are actually super weapons with 3D wave morphing, additive synthesis, wavetable interpolation, wave cycle morphing, and loads more complicated sounding powers. But the trick is, in reality, every one of Serum's features is completely straightforward to use, and there are countless third-party preset packs available which showcase its incredible potential. Serum has 3 features we would consider our favourite. 1, it's got up to 8 multi-point LFOs. 2, PNG wavetable import. 3, everyone who gets Serum gets a free copy of Serum FX, which is basically Serum's effects section that you can use as an effect plugin. Okay, so clearly Serum is the wob machine. Let's just look at how we can quickly make a nice little wob in this synth. We're just going to use oscillator A. We are going to go to the spectral wavetable menu and select a Rec Mess 4. Now, doesn't sound like much, but this is kind of cheating, because if we cycle through the wavetable position, it's already got like, kind of like a lovely Rec vocal quality. And the great thing about Serum is you can go in and edit these wavetables and make your own new ones or whatever. So if you think this is bait, then you can do that, so whatever. Anyway, we're cycling through the wavetable position. It's making all these noises, so let's make an LFO do that for us. So just drag that over there. We want it to trigger. We want it to assign it to BPM value rather than being synced. And then we just got to tweak it. Maybe put a bit of unison on there if you're feeling cheeky, why not? Put the filter on, like a bit of drive. Grungy and grimy, you get the idea anyway. So that's a little bit of fun. So sadly, our emotional synthetic journey ends there, but the fun doesn't have to, because you can download trial versions of all of these plugins from pluginboutique.com. Peace.